Hello and welcome back to our channel. Welcome back to our little jolly around France and Belgium for a few days. So if you remember in our last video, we'd gone to a place called Hill 62 and we'd also seen the closing ceremony at the Menin Gate. But we did say in this episode I was going to be looking for my great-grandfather Albert John Marshall, who died in World War I, and that's what we're up to today. So I'm filling my bike up with petrol and heading to a place called Plug Street. I think that's how it's pronounced, so apologies if I've just butchered your Belgian place name. This is the only clue we've got to where my great-grandfather died in World War I. Now we've just left Lille and Plug Street is only about 15 miles away from here, so we should be there in no time at all. But the one thing that we've got to do before we get there is find a florist and buy some fresh flowers so we can leave them at the Plug Street World War I Memorial to the Missing, which is where my great-granddad is remembered. The only information we've got regarding my great-granddad is some information we've managed to get from the Commonwealth War Graves Commission that his name is engraved on the Plug Street Memorial for the Missing. So we haven't got a lot to go on really, but we do know where the Plug Street Memorial is, and we do know that we're not going to find a cemetery with a headstone remembering my great-granddad. That's just not going to happen. But we're definitely going to be able to find the Plug Street Memorial. We're going to be able to pay our respects to my great-granddad there, but hopefully from there we're going to try and go a little bit deeper and find out where he actually died. And I think this is going to be as much as I can hope for, I think. So although it's only a short little hop to where we're going, we were taking the advantage of the weather. It was lovely and sunny at the moment. The wind had definitely died down. It was nowhere near as blowy as it was yesterday. And we were just taking advantage of the nice scenery. Countryside was still really nice, very flat. Just a really nice drive. Nous avons besoin d'un petit bouquet de fleurs pour le cimetière militaire là-bas.
Oui.
Vous vendez les fleurs naturelles?
Non, j'ai pas de fleurs naturelles. Non. Oui, fleuristes au Bizet sont fermés aujourd'hui.
Ah non.
Ouais. Il y en a une là, mais c'est fermé aussi.
Ah non.
Vous pourriez aller le village au-dessus à Messine.
À toi?
Oui.
Oui.
Mais c'est un grand... En sortant de Messine, à droite,
Oui.
mais c'est un grand... Comment dire? Elle vend des fleurs, elle vend à manger. C'est grand. Vermersch, ça s'appelle. Vermersch. Et là, elle a des fleurs naturelles.
Alright. 1000, 2000?
Combien je dirais? Ouais. 3 kilomètres.
Ah, oui?
Oui.
Ah,
Right ici. Oui.
oui.
Va?
Je comprends.
Merci.
Merci à vous.
De rien.
Vermise, she said, didn't she? Called Vermise.
Remember we came off that junction?
Yes.
So I reckon it was like a... Missy!
Au revoir.
So we'd actually stumbled across the smallest town in Belgium. And not only did the lady give us some spot-on directions to where we could get our flowers, but we also took time to take a selfie with a statue that's placed here, remembering the Christmas Day truce, the Christmas Day armistice of 1914. We were actually going to see more about that, learn more about that later on. We were going to visit the place where they actually had the Christmas Day truce, but that comes in another video. So it didn't take us long at all to get to the Plug Street Memorial for the Missing. And this is where I'm going to find my great-grandfather's name. So my great-grandfather's remembered on this monument, along with just over 11,000 other young men, just like my great-grandfather. Young men who were just completely lost in World War One around this area, mostly at the same time as my great-grandfather, between the middle of April 1918. So there's so many people remembered on this memorial. I think there was about 4 or 5 books of memorial bearing the names of all the young men that are remembered here. So found my great-grandfather, Albert John Marshall, and we found what stone he was remembered on. So now we knew where we could go to place our flowers. So after signing the Book of Remembrance, the next thing for us now was to try and find out what actually happened to my great-grandfather. So we walked literally a couple of 100 yards to the Plug Street Museum, hoping we'd get some clues in this place. So this kind lady actually spent a bit of time doing a bit of research for us on my great-grandfather while we were actually having a look around in the museum itself. The help she gave us was quite useful. So we're currently in the Plugstred 1914-18 museum, and Plugstred was nicknamed by the British troops Plug Street. So that's what this place is called, the Plug Street 1914-18 museum. And we've come here to find out if we can find out a little bit more about how my great-grandfather was killed. And we've literally opened a can of worms. The best guess we can come up with that he was killed in action in the German Spring Offensive, which was in April 18, and the best clue we've got is he was killed in action in a place called Hazenbrook, which is about 30 minutes drive from here. So that's where we're going to go next, Hazenbrook, see if we can find out any more in there. Okay, so we've got to Hasbrook, and it's miles bigger than we imagined it would be. We was expecting some little tiny in and out sort of town. We've also found out that when my great-grandfather died, this place was being used more as an admin centre for the war than any actual fighting that was taking place. But we did find out that not far from here, a place called Vieux-Berquin, which is about 15 minutes drive away, there was a lot of fighting going on there, which involved the London Fusiliers, which my great-grandfather was part of. And the fighting seemed to be most intense around the 13th of April 1918, which is when he died. So we're pretty convinced that's when my great-grandfather died. So that's where we're off to now, Vieux-Berquin. Vieux-Berquin, it's a village in northern France, and it was the site of some fierce fighting during World War I, notably in April 1918, when it became a crucial battleground during the German Spring Offensive known as Operation Georgette. Now, prior to this, the village had been occupied by the Allied cavalry pretty much for the entirety of the war since October 1914. So Vieux-Berquin was well behind the Allied lines, so it would have been relatively quiet. It would have been a pretty safe place at that time. But the quiet was completely shattered on April the 9th, 1918, when the German army launched their devastating spring offensive, and Vieux-Berquin found itself right in the path of the advancing German forces. So we're never going to know exactly where my great-granddad died or how he died, but the research we've been doing, it was pretty brutal. There was hand-to-hand fighting, door-to-door fighting, shelling, obviously people shooting at each other. So we're never going to have any idea what really happened to him, and I've got to accept it. I think this is where we're going to have to draw the line. I think that this is where he died, somewhere around here, and that's it. We ain't going to get any further than this.